everyone, hope you're doing well. I'm Lucas and welcome back to another F1 Esports Onboard POV video, and today we have the season finale, the championship decider at Abu Dhabi, round 12 of the F1 Esports Championship. On screen now are the results from the last race in Brazil, where we took possibly the most important win that I had in my career up to this point, and this gave us a 21-point lead over our nearest rival Fredrik Rasmussen in the championship, which meant that going into this final race of the season, as we start our first run of Q1 now, we needed to finish inside the top 7, and this would mean we would be F1 Esports World Champions. So yeah, this was by no means done. The championship gap was extended just when it needed to be extended, and now we have our job to do. So let's get straight into it. Finishing sector 1 now of Abu Dhabi, and first run of Q1. Obviously, you know, we need to make sure we're still getting through these qualifying stages, just as, you know, nothing really changed going into this race. That was the key thing that, you know, I kept reminding myself, and I kept saying to the team, you know, going into this race, was nothing really changed grandly. It was more, you know, let's just go out and make sure we execute everything just as we normally do. So heading into sector 3 for the first time. It's been I think it's been a relatively smooth lap up to this point. No major dramas, but it's just about how quickly we've managed to execute everything. But now we head into this sort of tight and winding slow speed section. Of course, this is the first year that Abu Dhabi has been on the calendar in F1 Esports since 2018. And we obviously have the new revised version of the circuit, which has actually been really enjoyable to drive compared to the old version, in my opinion, as we round the final corner. And it is a 22.627, which I think we lost a lot of time in the last sector, as that's not a very good lap at all. And as you can see, we are P8, which is not comfortable when you know, you've got to be inside the top 7 to win the championship. So heading through turn 1 now for the final time in Q1, and we're not off to a good start. We are actually, as we have a small snap of quite a big quick snap of oversteer through there, we're nearly half a tenth down, and yeah, that's not good whatsoever. So heading on to the back straight now. We are 400s down on our first run. Now we know from doing the lap that we have a bit of time in the final sector, particularly the last corner. But as we head into this, you know, end of the first main long straight, and then straight onto the second, we've not gained anything. We are still 400s down on our lap, so we're not making a lot of progress, and we know there's a lot of time in it because the lap we set was not something that I'd be shouting about. So we just need to, you know, string it together and stay patient and not get overwhelmed by the red delta that has been there the whole time, as we use so much entry curb on the way into sector 3 this time, and we're just opening up these corners a little bit better now, starting to see a bit of green for the first time in this qualifying, just on the teetering edge of improving on this lap, as we have one more corner to find the time, but we get a much cleaner exit, getting that delta just when it counts, and straight up to P5. Not a great lap overall, but more than enough to hopefully seal our way through into Q2, and as you can see, it is more than enough. Oh, that first corner was not it, was it? What was sector 1 on that lap?
2.9.
Don't speak to me. Oh no. Broke way too early. I didn't want to oversend it, but I did the opposite.
Yeah, the main thing you threw.
Yeah, no, I'm bro, that was pressure. Like, I had to just hold the nerve. Like, I'm the one in the driver's seat. I had to hold my nerve. You know, I lock up my championships in the bin. So don't worry. So all in good spirits then, heading into Q2 now, and yeah, we had to use 2 sets of tyres, unfortunately, to get into Q2. And going into Abu Dhabi, I felt pretty good about my pace. I was, you know, relatively happy with how things were going in practice around this track. So yeah. Kicking it off now through turn 1, holding 5th gear through there this lap, which I don't really know if I did every lap or not, but 5th gear is what we chose for this lap, and it's been pretty decent turn 1, nice and clean execution, and it's a 2-2-1 sector 1 for our first run of Q2, which is nothing too terrible overall. So heading through you know, that infamous corner where Max Verstappen made the move on Lewis Hamilton to win the championship, we actually get a pretty clean run through it, and now heading just breaking. You're such a tricky braking zone. So easy to misjudge your braking point because you brake just before the 100-meter board, and it's so easy to pinch one of the front tyres and lock up on either side because you're using all of the track width and pushing the limits with curbs. So not simple, as we have a 4-0-0 split heading into sector 3 now, which is where I think our car was pretty well set up for. We didn't really prioritise sector 1 and 2. We wanted, you know, to have a nice and strong sector 3 and make it so that, you know, we were able to hold on to the car at the end of the lap instead of have to, you know, hang on to lap time. We wanted to generate it through this sector, and as you can see, everything's been nice and smooth, well balanced through this final sector. One more corner to go. We get to that apex nicely, getting out the last corner, a little bit of oversteer, but it's a 3-4-1, which is a very solid first run of Q2.
Good job. Okay, we're happy for you to stay in, Lucas.
Understood. As long as you guys are happy with it, I'm fine.
Yeah, we're happy with that. We all agree on that.
Understood. Enjoy the show then.
Yep, no worries.
So that was us into Q2 with the one run, and this allowed us to regenerate the set of tyres that we burned in Q1, but unfortunately our teammate didn't get through. Our teammate Barry did not manage to get through, as a meter board wasn't where it was meant to. A meter board disappeared in Q2 randomly, and that was for the last run, and I think that caught a few drivers out, and unfortunately it meant that Barry couldn't improve. He literally only just went out as well, so incredibly unlucky. And as you can see, we do even have the meter board on the right hand side there as well, and we go completely wide, and this is our first run of Q3 there, so you can see what I mean with meter boards, sometimes being there, sometimes not. So yeah, it's not ideal because we just completely messed up that corner, and now we're going to have to over push to gain that time back, and immediately as I say that, we have completely missed that apex, and this lap might as well be in the bin. So yeah, over pushing it to try and regain the time, but yeah, as a byproduct, I guess, of, you know, missing that apex earlier in the lap. So yeah, now it's all about just, you know, bringing it, just closing out the lap and then resetting and going again on the final run, which is the one that's really going to count. So yeah, heading into sector 3, getting to the apex relatively well, but at this point the lap's in the bin. So yeah, but actually a bit too tight through this section. We actually save the distance a little bit, but we don't really open up the corner enough to carry forward momentum through it, through that, you know, under the hotel. And we have a terrible last corner, and that is a 349, and I'll not be remembering this lap in a hurry. But now, the final run of the season, the all-important lap to decide where we start in Q3, and we break way too early into Turn 1. It doesn't look bad when you watch it visually, but if you look at our delta, we are 600ths down to start the lap. 600ths at the first hurdle, and that is really, really painful to see. But now, as you can see, we perfect the apex this time. We do not miss it by a country mile. We have gained some of that time back, and now we are only 100th down on our delta, which is still very infuriating given how wide we went on the lap before, and it just shows how bad Turn 1 was. Even when you watch it, it doesn't look bad. It just was not it whatsoever. Breaking a bit too early, but now we finally regain some time on the delta, as I think we're just under a 10th up. Yeah, exactly a 10th up now, but we've got it all to do going into sector 3 now. So we send it into this high speed long left hand, and we have a really, really good line through here. We carried so much speed in, but we managed to keep the car tucked in nice and tight to the apex. Heading into sector 3 now, carrying fantastic speed in on the entry. Now short shifting to 5th, pushing the limit on the track limits. Like, that was literally millimetres from invalidation through there. And now heading through the final couple of corners of this final qualifying of the season, we nail the final corner and we send it to the line with what has been an unbelievable last sector, and we are only 8 thousandths off of pole position, and we set a purple sector 3 in the process. So to recover the lap from Turn 1, it was a pretty good lap, but now we're just waiting on the cars to come and finish the lap. Thomas Rona is currently the only car ahead of us as Frederick Rasmussen comes to the line, 3 thousandths ahead of us. So our two championship rivals heading into the finale of this championship are sitting P1 and 2 at the moment, with us in P3, but not anymore, as Josh now takes P1, and look how close it is in qualifying. 2 hundredths of a second just over behind pole position. Yeah, we were the beneficiaries of it in Brazil, with us being on pole by a small margin, with the gap being really close behind. But yeah, P4 for the finale. Let's go. Right, we need quiet in the room, please. Just take a deep breath. Let's do this.
Yeah, just to speak to me about the strategy as well, you know, in case. I know in the middle of
So
the
our
race.
strategy is as confirmed, yes, just to triple check.
Confirm.
Yep, regardless of what happens around me.
Yep.
As long as George is happy with that, I'm fine. Right,
Okay.
please don't do that, Yona. That is not a heart attack I need. Yeah, I'm pretty much good to go. I'm not even gonna check the tires of the others. I'm not bothered.
Oh, Thomas is on media one.
What's Freddy on?
Hard.
Hard copy. And Adowu is whatever.
Thank you. Good luck, Lucas.
Yep, you too, brother. Right, quiet, please. So, for the final time in F1 Esports 2022, it is 5 red light on your screen and out they go. And we actually have a pretty regular start, but we get a fantastic second phase of the launch. And yeah, we're safely through. But Thomas Ron and Josh Edo straight off the road into turn 1. You know, not messing about. Thomas on the medium tyre, so obviously trying to get ahead to optimise his strategy and break away early in this stint. But both of them going off at turn 1. Now, Josh and Thomas going side by side through the start of sector 2, and Thomas going round the outside with a grip advantage, and now, yeah, up into the lead. And yeah, you can see already though, there was a lot of squabbling from the cars behind, so we have actually a pretty big gap to the cars behind. And yeah, big lift into this corner. We do not want to be taking off any front wings going into this season finale. We are 29 laps ahead of us, and as it stands, we will be F1 Esports World Champion in this race, no matter where our rivals finish. Our rivals, Freddie and Thomas, going into this final race of the season, they had to win this race to have a chance to win the championship. If Freddie or Thomas did not win this race, I would be world champion. So yeah, they were in a good positions to do that, as they always are, because there's a reason they were fighting for the championship, and that's because they're both unbelievably fast. So yeah, the important thing for us is that we were right there with them, and we had good pace to match that and to go with them in this race. So lap 1 of 29 is in the books, and yeah, now is the key thing is just to settle down, get in a rhythm, and yeah, just sort of see how this race pans out, because the mass majority of this race was going to be reacting to what was going on around us. And yeah, skipping on to lap 3 now with DRS just being enabled. Thomas is obviously launched off into the distance with that medium, as yeah, this track was quite interesting with tyre wear and how the tyres acted. As Freddie Rasmussen, though, crucially now, Frederick Rasmussen takes P2 ahead of Josh Edo, his Red Bull family teammate in a way. And yeah, this was an interesting moment for me in the race, because I didn't quite know what the tactic was going to be, because naturally we were practically expecting everything and anything to happen in this race, and with Josh being a Red Bull driver, as part of the Red Bull family, then I wasn't sure whether he was, at any point in this race, whether he was just going to stop backing me up and trying to slow me down to try and drop me out of the points to allow, Freddie to have a chance of winning the championship. I didn't know how these things were going to work. So, I was basically expecting anything to happen, and that was the philosophy we took throughout this entire race. But as you can see, skipping on to lap 10, Josh is still right in front of us, so ultimately he's just driving his own race at this point, which is completely fair play.
To play with higher than 80.
And you can hear Anton confirming that everyone's got basically a full battery at this point, roughly. And yeah, we were just managing our own pace at this point in the race. So yeah, so at this point we know that the pit stops are going to be really important, and we skip onto lap 13 now. and around Abu Dhabi the tyre wear was quite
What do you think?
quite strong, given you know, let's say compared to other tracks this season. Every lap that you went longer, it really did help in terms of your tyre wear, because the tyre wear was pretty high around this track. So if you pitted really early, as we have Patrick Sipos now in the box, along with our teammate Barry, who is going to perform what is hopefully going to be a pretty monstrous undercut, and then he'll just trying to, then I guess the idea from there will be to sort of hang in the slipstream train, as is so common in F1 esports. But for us, we do not want to bite the bullet too early, because there is so many variations of possibilities in this race of what could happen with, you know, if we decided to pit, what would happen after the box, what would our rivals do. And currently we're sitting P3 in the hard train, and yeah, we're on to lap 14 now. And yeah, I was having discussions with our team at this point.
Just push. We're gonna cover Tomala.
And you can hear us there discussing. We're discussing with our engineers and our team. You know, what's the plan with strategy? And yeah, are you sure? You can hear me asking them now. Are you sure? Because on lap 14, I was just worried that the cars ahead would extend and we could maybe get held after the pit stop. We just did not know what was 100% going to happen. So I was just triple checking what their thoughts were going into this last sector.
Right, stay out one more. Stay out one more.
So we opt to stay out for one more lap just to make sure that we're not going too early in this race. And Freddie Rasmussen dives into the pits on this lap actually, as we go a little bit wide into the last corner. But crucially for us, Josh has stayed out ahead of us. So now this is the lap we need to push. We have a full battery as it stands at the moment. So now it's time to send it. This is a crucial lap in the race, as the undercut was pretty strong round here. And as you'll have saw, Sipos pitted, I think it was like 2 laps ago, or two or three laps ago. So he will most likely come out ahead of us, but will have much worse tyres. And we knew that by going that early in the race, by the end of the race, you'll be, you know, struggling quite a lot. So yeah, at this point we were just talking with Anton. Josh was pushing on quite a lot as well on this lap, so this was working into our hands quite nicely. You know, we weren't being backed up on this lap. We were just pushing, you know, at a pretty decent rate. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where we come out. But you know, regardless of where we come out, we're going to be in a pretty decent position tyre-wise relative to the cars that are ahead of us, or around us, let's say, versus at the end of the race, because we'll have one of the newest sets available. So yeah, it's more about, you know, it's not so much about going for the win in this race, it's about making sure we are securing a solid result to try and secure this championship. So yeah, now is the time to box as we follow Josh in, as is basically necessary at this point. We can't really go much longer than this, otherwise we will start getting undercut by quite a lot more cars. So
right. We probably lose the position to Cyprus, but we'll be ahead of Barry and Tomala.
Copy that. But we're still okay
decent
though
time
in general,
in the pits, and the team will be
Yeah,
hoping
we are,
that
we
they
are.
can get
That's
back
all
into
good,
the
that's all
action
it
as
is, you know,
fast
thank
as possible, so they don't lose too much
So
time.
the final pit stop of the season complete, and now we are heading out the pretty cool pit exit here at Abu Dhabi actually, as Barry, our teammate, sets the fastest lap, and he has performed, as you can see now, coming out of the pit, he is now right behind us with what was a phenomenal undercut. So fantastic strategy by the team, and unbelievable outlaps from Barry to get himself up into that position.
We got protection
How
from
many
behind.
people are
That's
on
good.
there?
So yeah, great work.
Well done, boys.
Just keep me up to date on what you want me to do once. So
Look,
Good
I'm
touch.
behind you, so you're fine.
copy that, brother. Just stay with me. I'm gonna try and push. I don't know how much battery you got. Battery.
That's 0, 0, 0.
Ah, right. Well, do your best, brother. Josh has got none. Josh has got none. But he's done DRS. Keep bossing him. Good job, Barry. Let's do this. So the pit stops have been completed, and yeah, we are sitting, as it stands, a provisional P5. So yeah, Josh ahead with no battery as well. We have a little bit more than that, but as you can see, Sipos into I believe it's a provisional P3, but we knew that his pace would drop off with how early he decided to box. He had, I think, at least 2 lap older tyres than us, so yeah, he would have to push really, really hard and do really, really well with his tyres to be able to maintain, let's say, a consistent pace to the end of the race, because the tyre wear around Abu Dhabi was much trickier than it was. Than it was at other tracks, but you can hear Anton on the radio that, you know, as we sort of expected in many ways, our 2 championship rival teammates, Marcel Kiefer and Piotr Stachilek, had stayed out on track, so they had not made their pit stop yet, and I guess the whole aim of that was to, the whole aim of that was to, you know, stay out and hold us up, or hold the train up, whether it was us directly or indirectly. You know, the point being was to, you know, try and help their teammates out. So, you know, we sort of had a pretty good idea that this was a high possibility going into this race. So, again, I think it would have taken a lot for us to have been surprised in this race. We pretty much knew, you know, there was a lot that was possible in this race in terms of tactics. So, all we were doing was, you know, keeping a very, very level head, talking with the team, driving nice and clean laps, making sure we're not getting any silly warnings, not anything for track limits. You know, keeping it smooth, keeping it rhythmic. As we're on to lap 18 now, and yeah, we still have quite a few cars out on track. As you can see though, Marcel Kiefer has left the session, and that is quite remarkable because he literally disconnected from this race right as he was, you know, right as his role in this race was about to unfold with the strategy, with you know, trying to hold up the train. So unbelievable, just unbelievable timing. Like, you couldn't write it as he rejoins the session now. And I believe the thing is though, he's still ahead of us on track, so technically he is he's still able to, you know, hold us up at this point. So bizarre circumstances in this championship finale. Really, you couldn't write it. It's quite unbelievable. You know,
he just rejoined the session, so watch out.
That, you know, the way this is all panned out is we're now heading into the hotel section, and as you can see on the left hand side, Marcel actually getting out the way. So with the disconnect, you know, he was still ahead of us, but he decided not to, you know, hold us up, which was unbelievably, you know, generous and clean of him. So, you know, massive hats off to him. But now we are side by side with Tomek Peradžić and going into the start phase, and I'm not really sure why he was trying to fight us at this point, but we are now in a really risky situation. So we go round the outside of Tomek on his old hards, and that was one of the scariest moves I've had to make in this whole championship. But you cannot be timid, you cannot act scared in these races, you know, in these circumstances. You've got to be elbows out and ready to put yourself on the line. You know, you can call it risk management, you can call it whatever, but, you know, that was a very unusual situation to find ourselves in, and we had to commit to the move around the outside. We could not, you know, sit about and hang around, as we were still trying to keep in tabs with the cars ahead. But as you can see, Barry had to go off track behind us to avoid Tomek out of turn 1, and he got an illegal overtake, which was completely ridiculous. So he lost out in that situation massively, and then unfortunately lost the place to Luke Smith, who is now the car behind us, but he's still on the train, thankfully, so Barry's still in the mix. But now we have the other teammate now in this race, Piotr Stachilek, who he's, you know, you didn't think he's, you know, going for drifting around that long left hand. He's twitching all over the place, and now he is backing up slowly into this final section. I don't even know if this was intentional. I think that was just clearly the pace of how slow the hards were at this point in the race. But he is so slow coming to the penultimate corners of this lap, and yeah, we will do. Well, I mean, we've already lost DRS to the car side, so now it's about trying to set up an overtake going into this lap and trying to lose as minimal time as we can. And yeah, you saw we had a little look trying to go onto the main straight, but now just not taking any stupid risk, making sure that we are, yeah, playing it smart, playing it safe. And you can hear we're right on the back of them. We're making sure, crucially, that we get DRS. With the DRS right there, we are making sure. Oh, right there. Sorry, we get DRS, but it goes deep, and we're up the inside.
Where are you going, bro?
And we take the move, and we get DRS. So that was a crucial point, and we're darting to the right to try and break the toe ever so slightly, draining the battery a bit now as well. We're down to below 10%, fainting to the inside to cover the line. Luke Smith making the move, and Statchelic as well behind us. And that is us up ahead of, yeah, up ahead now.
P5 at the moment. Weigand is here yet to pit.
So, yeah, we have only one more car yet to pit as we're on P6 in this race. Net P5, as you can hear our engineer Anton mention there.
Fresh on look stars.
And you can hear me asking there as well, how fresh were Luke Smith's tires behind, so I knew whether to be, you know, worried about any form of attack, which, yeah, was just, you know, covering all bases, making sure I had the necessary knowledge. But you can also see as well, Josh Edo got ahead, Edo, sorry, got ahead of Patrick Cepos and all of that as well. So, yeah, Patrick's now going to have to do his best to cling on to Josh, otherwise he's going to fall into the trap with us. But yeah, we are just outside the fringes of DRS, but we weren't equally desperate to, let's say, get straight back into it. I didn't want to completely drain my battery below 10%.
Pressure of Cyprus.
Anyone else think?
One lap of Will Smith.
Because Smith is older.
Smith has 0
Correct.
years.
1 lap older.
Well, that's
Come on. Head down.
so, as you can hear there, that was, you know, music to our ears. Luke Smith with no battery and a lap older tyres, and the car ahead of us, Patrick Cepos, has 2 lap older tyres. So, yeah, looking all right at the moment with Simon Weigand now, the last car yet to make a pit stop. His hard will be finished at this point, so we blast the energy, go up his inside, nice and clean move, and making sure we're getting ahead of Simon before the DRS zone, so that we don't, you know, give Luke Smith a chance to overtake us. So, yeah, nice and clean, good move. And heading on to lap 23 now. We have Patrick Cepos, the car ahead, and he is picked up, as you can see just there, a 3-second time penalty through the underneath the hotel section. So that has put us into deep. That's us in P4 now by default. But naturally, we want to try and, you know, make sure we're in a good position in this race if the opportunity arises. So, you know, skipping on to lap 25 now, the laps are coming down, down and down, and we are getting closer and closer to, you know, winning the F1 Esports World Championship. And yeah, now you can see Patrick Cepos is now just within the 1 second window. He is now within DRS, as his tyres, as we knew it would happen, completely fell off the cliff. He'd ran out of grip completely, and he was just trying to cling on for dear life. So, heading through the sector 1 on lap 26 of this race, we have a little bit of battery in hand, not much, but just enough, and you can just see how much Cepos is struggling. He's losing the rear on all of the traction zones, not being able to carry great minimum speed either. And now the DRS is open, he's just ahead of us by 4/10, and now we are getting closer and closer. We are not going to be making a move into this braking zone, as, you know, absolutely zero risk is to be taken at this point in the race. There is no point in us doing something stupid that would throw our race away. But now we are only 3/10 behind. Battery is being blasted. He is out of energy. DRS is open. We go round the outside and we take P4 on track. Nice clean move. No risk there whatsoever. And this is perfect. We are now in P4 in this race. The cars ahead are now up the road, but quite frankly, it does not matter one singular bit, as, yeah, all we need to do now is round, you know, the final couple of laps, and skipping on now to lap 28 of 29, rounding the last corner, and we are 1 lap away. We are on the final lap of F1 Esports 2022, and this was us on the way to winning the F1 Esports Championship, which is something that, you know, I'd worked and dreamed for such a while. I say a while, a long time. And it's been this season alone has been a roller coaster. We started so strong, we kept the momentum up through the season. You know, people were maybe starting to doubt us a bit going into the third event, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, because it's about the hard work, it's about the dedication, it's about the ethic, it's about not giving up and believing in your own ability and proving every single person that would ever doubt you wrong, you know. And we are now half a lap away from winning the championship, and, you know, at one point in my career in racing, I never thought I would be able to do racing again. In 2015 I had to stop karting. We couldn't do it, it was too expensive. and at that point my dreams were shattered. I didn't think that I would ever be racing again. And then esports came along, and the rise of F1 esports, and in our 4th season of F1 esports, we've got one more corner to go, and we are going to become F1 esports
Unbelievable,
world
guys.
champion. World champion! Yes! 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 F1 esports world champion! Yes! Come on! Yes! 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 Yes!
You are the man, right?
Thank you so much, bro.
You are.
We did it. We won the championship, and that is... it meant everything. I mean, you know, on screen now are going to be images of the whole team and how how the celebrations were after, but yeah, it was a phenomenal season. We became Constructors Champions, McLaren Shadow. We won the Drivers' Championship, and I just want to take a moment to say a big thanks to the whole team as well, because, you know, the amount of hard work and the amount of time from, you know, not just the main drivers, so between, you know, Barry, myself, Wilson, but also the engineers, the development drivers, the strategists, just all the individuals and the people that put their time, their effort, their hard work, their dedication into being, you know, trying to become this, you know, trying to achieve this goal. And we ultimately managed to achieve it, and, you know, it was, you know, these images are just so amazing to look back on and believe, just to think of how far everything came in the space of time it did. So massive thanks to the whole team, and I want to say a big thank you to everybody watching and to you guys who have supported me, you know, whether you've supported me for, you know, a few years now, or whether you've been supporting me for all of 10 minutes. Thank you very much for being part of this journey. Thank you so much for the support. I don't think you realise how much it means, and yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this video. It's been really special to make this video and this series as a whole, so thank you very much everybody. Have a great rest of your day. I love you all, and see you guys in the next one.